I was born in Liverpool, England. My mother is English and my father is Scottish. Liverpool is a working class city which suffered greatly under Margaret Thatcher's rule. Jobs and industry were lost and many citizens were plunged into poverty. It is a city with high crime, lack of work opportunities, and many social issues, including high rates of suicide and alcoholism. My father is from a small village in Fife, Scotland. It is a low socio-economic area also and has significant substance abuse problems as well as high unemployment. My parents decided to move to Australia when I was 18 months old and my brother was 6 weeks old. They decided to do this because to them, Australia offered more opportunities for my brother and I. When we moved to Australia, we settled in Ipswich, Queensland. The traditional owners of the land on which Ipswich stands are the Yagara peoples, consisting of the Yagara, Jagara and Urugulpul clans. Ipswich was settled from 1824. It was built on manufacturing, in particular the woolen mills, railway workshops and coal mines. Ipswich has a significant Indigenous population compared to other cities in Queensland, such as the Gold Coast. Growing up there, I remember a lot of derogatory language from white people directed at Indigenous people that frequented the Ipswich Mall. My father, unfortunately, was part of that racism. I heard many adults discussing First Australians being drunk, stole-bludgers and dirty. At school, I had many Indigenous friends and there was no racism between the white and Indigenous children. I didn't understand what racism was and our teachers would read us Dreamtime stories, such as my favourite, The Rainbow Serpent. I remember special events like Indigenous dancers coming to perform and Indigenous elders coming to assembly and talking to us about their culture. We weren't taught that the settlement of Australia was in fact an invasion. I was taught that Captain Cook peacefully stepped onto Australian soil and that first Australians welcomed the British and were completely passive in the takeover of their country. Now I understand how brutal and violent the invasion of Australia was and that first Australians indeed fought hard to defend their land. I understand now that the torture and genocide the British inflicted on first Australians and how the wounds from that history have never healed. A black mark on the memories of my childhood in Ipswich is Pauline Hanson and her One Nation party being in the media and coming to power. Pauline Hanson is from Ipswich and my parents were supporters of her policies. I remember being so ashamed of their political beliefs and trying desperately to hide it from my friends at school. Now, as an adult, I know I feel ashamed because I knew Pauline Hanson was racist and I knew deep down she was wrong and I didn't want to be associated with those beliefs. Current Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk is holding a community forum in Ipswich to open dialogue regarding the social and emotional health of Indigenous Queenslanders. She is also calling for the Queensland Mental Health Commission to create a formal plan to address the issues. What I have learnt at university is the only people that are qualified to make decisions regarding Indigenous health are Indigenous people themselves, and I hope that this is adhered to in this regard.